How are you?
This is very exciting, historic for us, certainly.
I'm sorry, my cat, Faye, would like to say hello.
That looks like a well-fed cat. There's an echo here, but you all look good, though.
Hey, we're getting younger. It's great to see you.
When I came out with Dreams from My Father, and I went on a little mini book tour, like a lot of first-time authors, one of the only places that took me was SOM Books, back when nobody knew who I was and couldn't pronounce my name and didn't sell any books.
Take us from the South Bronx to the Promised Lands. I have a question here for you today.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
How on earth were you able to get any reading done, that sort of reading that you would like to do while you were president?
The thing is, I'm a night owl, and what I found was that having 45 minutes to an hour to be able to read something for me before I went to bed helped to reset me, and also helped to sort of extend my perspective beyond the narrow set of headaches that were staring me in the face.
What lessons did you learn from writing A Promised Land?
My goal has been to try to allow people to enter into the presidency and understand, here are the constraints, the judgments, the doubts, the fears that you're feeling in this process. Particularly for young people who have any aspirations to change the world, I want them to have a clear sense of that this is a human enterprise.
If you hadn't been a politician, would you have been happy being a writer?
I'm a pretty good writer, but I don't know if I've got those gifts. But what I will say is this, that the writing sensibility is one that I find central to who I am. And what I mean by that is that what books, what they do for me is to take me out of myself, create connections that sometimes you don't see on the surface.
What advice would you give to community leaders, organizers, and business owners, maybe an indie bookstore owner, for vetting those opportunities that collaborate with some of the people who uphold the very systems that you're setting out to change? I
think it starts, Noelle, with knowing who you are and what your values are and what you care about. Who am I? What do I believe in? What can I compromise? What can I not compromise? By the way, a good place to get that, in addition to your parents and your friends and your family, is having a knowledge of your history and having a knowledge of the story of how you arrived at where you were and understanding the context in which you are living, all of which can be found in books.
Where did that drive come from? This drive of always learning, the drive of reading.
Because my father wasn't around, because I was growing up in Hawaii, which was and is a beautiful place, but at the time, not that many Black folks. So I'm looking around as I become an adolescent and a teenager, and I'm thinking, there aren't that many people who look like me. I don't have a lot of role models in terms of what does it mean to be a Black man in America. And I think that is what prompted me then to discover books like Autobiography of Malcolm X or The Fire Next Time. Having that kind of knowledge I found empowering. And so that, I think, got me out of only thinking about basketball and girls, which was the main thing I was thinking about at that time.
We have a typewriter that we have in our store that anyone can type on. If you were to leave one note on our typewriter, what would you write?
Read.
Nice.
When our daughters were growing up in Hyde Park, our independent bookseller was 57th Street Books. The memories I have of taking Malia and Sasha into that bookstore and us browsing and getting recommendations and, occasionally going in for a reading, that nourished the soul. It sustained you in ways that I think changed my daughter's lives for the better because it taught them the power of words to connect. I'm sure I speak for your customers that during what was a challenging time, you were a little oasis for them to be able to at least stretch their imaginations, even if they couldn't always stretch their legs. When I talk to young people, I very much try to describe for them the power that is contained in books, because you read James Baldwin today, it is as relevant as it was the day it was written, even though it was written 50, 60 years ago. To understand so much of what we are struggling with in this nation is to understand our history. There are very few places I love more than independent bookstores, and being able to walk in and have people who aren't just selling you books but love books, talking about a book you'd never heard of, and taking it home and discovering an entire new perspective and new world. I am so glad you guys are still out there making the case for books, and I'm looking forward to being able to find any ways that I can to help promote you and other independent booksellers all across the country.